What's up, you guys? Adam here with Anabolic Climbing, and today it's time to call out a couple of fake natties. In front of us, we have Reza Colosnian and Reza Alipour, one of which a former world's fastest man on the speed climbing circuit. And we're going to do some natty or nots, one of which you guys already know if you follow the channel. Obviously, the gentleman to the left is obviously enhanced and has been popped for Winstrol. More on that later. But now it's time to figure out, is his teammate a fake natty or not? Does his teammate have a history using anabolic steroids? I have an answer, and you guys will soon. If you like this content, please do not forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. Helps this channel out tremendously. We're going to continue to do audits of some of the most prolific climbers in the speed climbing scene, in the bouldering and comp scene, and we're going to go through it and figure out, based off of this anabolic expert, are they natty or not? So, little bit of table dressing. So Reza Alipour, like I said, is a former world record holder, previously one of the fastest and still a sub-5 speed climber, and an incredible athlete and looking absolutely fucking jacked as a rock climber. This gentleman right here, Reza Colosnian, is one of the only rock climbers to ever pop for steroids specifically. He popped for Winstrol. So we're going to go through King Pull-Up, and, you know, obviously this dude is looking saucy as a mofo. He reminds me of a young Rich Gaspari. You have vascularity literally everywhere. You've got veins crawling up both biceps, forearms. It's not a question of, is this dude saucy? It's how saucy is this guy? And by the way, that doesn't mean he's not incredibly strong. If you look at some of his feats of strength on Instagram, they're pretty tremendous, man. This guy does one finger, one arm pull-ups. He does hangs on with more weight than I'm able to count. I think he's got some 15 or 20 kilograms. And yeah, he's just going to casually hang off of a couple of four fingers. And he is there to basically challenge, can Winstrol be viable for a super strong climber, as he just has a random menagerie of weights on him. And look, the Monkey D. Luffy of Iran obviously is strong as fuck. That's not up for debate. The other side of it is he tested positive. We know that. I think he was positive for some other compounds as well. But we're not really here to discuss whether or not, Jesus Christ, this guy is so saucy, Reza Colosnian is natty or not. Like, the answer is no. We're here to discuss, is Reza Alipour natty or not? And in order to do this, we need to break down a couple of things, right? Because it's not just a question of his times. There are faster people. It's not just a question of, is he the strongest climber for the weight? There are people that are stronger. And let's be fair to Reza here. If we were having a discussion about some random schmuck like me, and could I be capable of some of these lifts? Natty? Because some of his lifts, and we're going to go through them, are literally rubbing up against some of the peaks for natty powerlifters. That's a fact. We're going to go through them. Also, some of his form is about the worst I have ever seen, or of an Olympic class climber or an Olympic level athlete. But Reza is, as far as I'm aware, the largest speed climber on the circuit, being 5'7", weighing in between 165 and 168 pounds. I have him pegged between 8 to 11% body fat, depending on his competition. Like, this guy isn't stage lean. And for context, if you were a professional natural bodybuilder, you would step on stage at around 164, 166 at 5'7", being around 4 to 5% body fat. So in theory, he could be within that natural weight limit, but like, ooh, he's rubbing up against it. But again, this is a guy that is an Olympic level athlete and one of the absolute genetic elites. He's not some bum. This dude is something special. Let's compare him to Sam Watson. Looking at those capped shoulders, bow, little bit of shoulder striation. Notice, not nearly as vascular as our boy Reza Colosnian, but still absolutely just mogging our boy Sam. Sam ended up winning this race, but yeah, if this was a bodybuilding show, it's no contest. So let's take a look at Reza, because obviously this dude has an affinity for bodybuilding. Here hitting the front lat spread, seeing some striations in the chest, even in a lat dominant pose. Little bit of separation in the shoulders. Still not as crazy vascular, but this was taken about 4 years ago. Here we are with, like I said, some of the ugliest deadlifting form for 240 kilograms. We're going to watch this one more time. I can't believe this is real. His hands are so wide. And he doesn't set up for it. He just takes it off the ground and just rips it and then just shrugs it to the top. It's bananas. And again, a little bit of shoulder separation, a little bit of vascularity, nothing nearly as crazy as the other Reza. A little bit of filtering here, still looking super lean. Crazy forearms, man. His brachialuses are nuts. But again, this is this year, not this year, but within like the last 8 months ago. Reasonable, right? Dude's obviously jacked, but not like absolutely diced in the way that we would expect a bodybuilder. You know, if this guy was walking around at 170, you're like, all right, I could definitely see this dude being Natty. And also he's aging a little bit more. Let me double check how old Reza is. I believe he's mid-30s, maybe even early 40s. Oh, 1994. Now he's... All right, so he's mid-30s at this point. Yeah, he's 32. So, again, now let's take a look at him. Here, I think he's coming off of an injury, absolutely thick back. You could put this guy in a natural bodybuilding show, and this dude would do damage. And again, we're not talking like single digit, or we're not talking like 5 to 6% body fat here. We're probably looking between like 8 and 10. Like, dude's obviously super lean, but not something crazy here as he walks around the mountains of Iran. So here's where we're going to start getting a little bit sussy, right? So just so you guys know, this is a 300 kilogram double. He's hanging out with a couple of dudes that are absolutely sauced to the tits. This is 4 years ago. This is his highest PR on record. So just so you guys know, the way that Reza squats, he does sort of the sprinter squat where he'll go and touch the bench and then come up. But he's about to hit 300 kilograms for a double. One. And two. So again, he's hitting the bench, so this isn't quite powerlifting level. He's not going to competition depth, but like, if you can have 300 kgs on your back and move that for a double, we're talking like absolute elite powerlifter status as a 165 natty, which is what Reza would be. I believe the current world record is 313 for a single. So to do 300, even for like a partial double, has you in like elite territory for a natty. Starting to look a little bit sussy here. And the further back you get, the more capped the delts are starting to look, even if he's a little softer. Incredibly thick back. Absolutely mogging Magos with like crazy quad striations. This is some of the best separation I've seen in his quads. But here is where the cat's out of the bag, right? Am I saying that Reza has been juicing his entire competitive career? No. But when you win a Iranian bodybuilding show where you're getting a medal from a national level Iranian coach who runs bodybuilding shows of guys that are clearly enhanced, unless we find out that this guy also happens to run natural shows, ooh, man, sure seems like our boy juiced at least at one time or another. Now, we can have ourselves a reasonable discussion, right? We can ask ourselves, okay, did Reza maybe juice for his bodybuilding show and then not juice for the climbing comps? Yeah, that's entirely possible. Would it be possible that Reza did a show naturally? Maybe. Do I think it's likely that he would win his weight class against dudes that were absolutely fucking juiced to the tits? I'm going to say no. That probably isn't the case. Even like to be in stage lighting and having that level of separation is really, really impressive. And, you know, he's not going to be maybe winning like pro level stuff, but still, to win a show against other dudes that are juiced as a natural, it does happen. And you could maybe say to yourself, well, considering he's like top 10 in the world as a speed climber and he's like Olympic level great, he is a dude that could potentially do it naturally. Maybe. And it's entirely possible that politics played a role, and that's one of the reasons that got him the gold. Sure, these things are plausible. But here's the sort of body of evidence that I kind of want to leave in conclusion, right? This guy deadlifts in the basically in the 550s with some of the most horrendous form I've ever seen. This guy has squatted essentially at the peak of natural professional powerlifters. He also hangs out with dudes that have been pretty saucy, both on his team and in at least a brief stint as a bodybuilder. And also keep in mind, 7 years ago, there weren't Olympics. He hadn't yet been, I don't think he held a speed climbing record 7 years ago. Yeah, all in all, man, the likelihood that Reza has used something at some point seems pretty high to me. Obviously not dumb enough to use Winstrol in competition, or at least get caught with it. But when I look at his lifts, when I look at the amount of muscle that this dude carries and walks around with, it does suggest that he's on at least a little something. Do I think he's like taking TRT or something like that? No. Would I be surprised if he did some orals for his show or has maybe used orals or something throughout the offseason? Entirely possible. Could he be using something else, either a cardio agent or a GH or something to help him stay lean? I probably don't think he's using GH. In general, a lot of Persians can stay lean pretty year round. We see this from a lot of the bodybuilding competitors over there, and it's not too surprising when rock climbers stay lean pretty year round, but this dude carries a ton of muscle. All I'm saying is I don't think this dude is natty. I don't think he's cheating competition to competition, but I think the likelihood that this dude took steroids at some point in his career is incredibly high. With that, I would bank it at around 85-90%. The only way I could be convinced otherwise is if I found out that this was a natural show. If this was a natural show, I would be like, all right, maybe this dude is just that elite. But it's very rare that you see natties winning shows against enhanced dudes. It's just super rare. I wouldn't expect it. If you guys have some connections in Iran and you want to let me know if this show is natty or not, I will absolutely revise my position. I'm just going off of my eye test. In general, guys, just so you know my thought process on this, I've been talking about this guy with a couple of my buddies that are powerlifters and bodybuilders to get their feedback. And I have been super on the fence about this one, which is why I bring it down to the bodybuilding show. A lot of his lifts, like his deadlift, even though they're ugly, totally possible for an Olympian of that caliber. His squat, little sussy, but like technically within the realm of reason. But to put all of that together for a dude that isn't powerlifting as a main sport, plus the bodybuilding history, if that was not a Natty show, I would say 100% he's used stuff in the past. If it is, then yeah, maybe maybe he's just that dude. Anyway, right now that's 2 for 2. I'm going to be adding some other folks in the queue next. Some of the other Natty or Nots coming down the pike. We have Yanya Garbret. We have Ben Galper. Who else do I have in the queue? I will be adding some others along there. I'll even throw in some from Tommy Caldwell, considering his dad was a bodybuilder. If you're familiar with some of my first videos, you know about that. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that Reza is absolutely not Natty. So if you guys like these breakdowns, please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bell. It helps the channel out tremendously. And yeah, I am Adam with Anabolic Climbing, wishing you guys good luck, happy sending. I'll see you in the next one. And if you have another climber that you want me to review their Natty or Not status, post it in the comments down below. If you disagree or agree, post it in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.